Hold on. Welcome everybody to MogTalk, episode 250. If you guys are unfamiliar with MogTalk, it's a show based around the Final Fantasy XIV community discussing everything from Savage Raiding to Chocobo Racing. And it's been a while. It's been a little while, and things could be all messed up and goofy, and if it is, please tell me. I'll do my best to fix it. That being said, we have three amazing guests on here, and I want to go ahead and introduce them before we go too much further into all this. So I'll go clockwise, I guess, and Ms., could you tell everybody who you are? Okay, wait, Mr. Happy, could you tell everybody who you are?
No, anyway, no. I am Mr. Happy. I make YouTube and Twitch content for Final Fantasy XIV. I am a hardcore raider, I'd say. And I'm looking forward to talking about Savage today.
Okay. Ms., are you good? You keep going?
Yes, hi.
All right.
Sorry, there was a screaming baby right away.
Completely fine.
Hi, my name is Ms. Tech, and you may know me from such hits as the Sestasha Dungeon Guide and that Grubhub commercial.
That is awesome, by the way. How did that go for you, being on Grubhub?
Oh, it was pretty insane. It was awesome. It was a lot of fun, but it was brand new. I'd never done anything like it before, so it was terrifying at the same time.
Yeah. I can only imagine. All right. Let's get off Grubhub for a second. Ren, tell everybody who you are.
Hello, everybody. My name is Ren, and in about 2 weeks, I'm going to look like this guy up here, Mr. Happy.
So it's funny because on Discord, you pointed up to her for me. So I was...
Who knows?
Is it like, so it's like a chia pet thing? Like you just kind of grow it out a little bit and just like...
Oh, yeah, I just go... and water it a little bit.
Oh, jeez. Well, everybody, today we wanted to talk about Savage that's coming up here on Tuesday. The first one we've had in over a year. We haven't had a new Savage in a very, very long time. We haven't had a new Ultimate. We haven't had new, like, really... we've had new Extremes. Stop saying all these things. Stop it. Hey, man. We're almost there. We wrote it out. You know, we made it work out. We're still alive somehow.
Make it.
Yeah. And, you know, since the last show we've had here, a lot of stuff RL has happened with me, but also a new expansion has came out that has been absolutely, for me, fantastic. But of course, lots of other shit going on with that login issue. I did the whole login in the evening strategy. It didn't really work out for me, but I was able to beat the main story quest. And we have had a little bit of difficult content. I guess we've had the two new extremes that have come out. So I kind of want to talk about this in a couple of different ways before we go too much into it, because I haven't had a show since Endwalker. I kind of want to just start this off with how Endwalker is going for all of you. Are you guys enjoying it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're done. Let's move on.
Yeah, I'll let you know in just 5 minutes.
Oh, I get that joke. I understood that reference.
I don't understand.
I feel like the Chi waiting room for the World Fate.
Oh.
Just 5 more minutes.
I threw away 30 bolts in the past, 3 days. That's.
I'm surprised you showed up to kill 5 more.
I need the gemstones. It's 86 gemstones.
That's pretty good.
Has that been pretty much your life? Just doing, the alt leveling and waiting for the fate?
I got my
This
mount.
man has a rhino.
I have a rhino dino.
Okay.
So now I'm doing them for money because they sell for 120k a pop. So I do 7 fates, I get 120k. I'm down for that.
Okay. Ms., what have you been doing in Endwalker?
I discovered spearfishing minigame, which is literally the greatest thing ever.
Okay. Well, I have been...
Leveled a few other things.
Yeah.
Wait, Frosty, you've got to love Paladin now, right? Like, that's got to feel clean.
Man.
And
okay, so I'm going to say this. I love Paladin. I think it's great. And Square Enix thought it was great, so they didn't change anything. Right? They added on a couple extra buttons that you press at the end, and that's it, right? They didn't really... I mean, Miz, you can speak to it more, I'm sure, but I feel like Paladin's... I mean, it has all these minor quality of life stuff, but it still feels exactly like Paladin used to feel. Just some gripes are fixed, right?
Yeah, I mean it's like Paladin but more Paladin-y. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I really love it too. I know a lot of people are expecting hopeful for potency buffs on Tuesday, but we'll see.
You
We
know,
will see.
what's really funny is I used to really hate when I missed my confetti, but now I really, really hate missing my confetti.
Don't miss the confetti.
It's so bad.
Request the cat and throw your confetti.
If you miss it, it's done. You're just like, I don't want to play the game anymore and just log out.
Yeah, just wall it, restart the fight.
Yeah. But I do like
you can main
it.
tank now. You're good. You can main tank now. You
That's
can
true.
pull the boss. You're not gonna have an attack that scales when you're missing a single hit point.
That's absolutely true. You know, I main tank before anyways because I'm a bully. Even if it's inefficient, I would still do it. But I do like overall the jobs do still feel pretty good. I did every side quest because I told myself I would do every single side quest in this expansion. I was just going to go deep into it. You shouldn't. Even if you shouldn't, you just there's no reason to do it.
No, there's reasons. There's some really good side
really
quests,
good
especially in Garlemald.
I mean, there's some that, you know, they're kind of interesting, they're worth it, but for the most part, right? For the most part, it's like reading every book in Skyrim. You just you don't do it.
I mean,
Why, right?
Yeah.
Wait, you don't do that?
There's a few you could read, but most of it has a lot of bad literature. Anyways, I've enjoyed it. I've played through. I've leveled. Things are so easy to level. Holy crap! I don't know if this is just me realizing this now, but I go in and I do a dungeon or two and I got a level and I'm like, holy fuck!
They buffed it.
They did.
Yeah, insanely. I've played through. I've done Sage. I've done all the stuff. I feel like the Endwalker has been great. I'm happy at the end of it.
I didn't say anything. You did this to yourself.
I know it's a reaction. I'm sorry.
You're both happy.
No, he's distinctly happy. But I'm glad I don't know. With all the login issues, at the end of the day, you know, I was frustrated logging in and everything, but once I got through everything, I was happy.
Yeah, it's like once you got through the queue, the servers were remarkably stable.
Yeah,
Like, I don't think we had server issues outside of just the queue.
It sucks. I mean, I did have some weird issues with DirectX and sound and everything else, but most part, you know, it was fine. I actually didn't know I was having audio issues with DirectX 11 when I first started playing, and I went through like hours without any voice or anything, any kind of voiceovers.
Like, wow, they didn't.
And you're
put
like,
a whole lot
wow,
of work in
what
They
it.
happened
really
to all the
cheaped
voices?
out.
What happened to the budget they said they had?
Yeah.
There's
But
definitely a big like suffering from success kind of problem, and there's a lot of people who I've seen to have some really bad takes. Like, this is the worst expansion launch I've ever seen. I'm like, you guys were not around for
Yeah, that's-
Robon's Wall,
Or for literally any game's expansion launch.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's silly.
Heaven's
Yeah.
Ward had like emergency maintenance every night. for
Yeah, but
like
Heaven's
3
Ward at
weeks.
least worked.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did.
You got logged out, but you also logged back in. So
right.
But this was good. This was good. It was definitely just too many people. But if you kept like the savage like prog schedule of being up at 3 or 4 in the morning, you got on right away.
Yeah. You just
oh yeah,
had to.
just no problem.
Yeah, it's super easy, like in the middle of the morning, or like in like before the sun comes up. But as soon as the sun's up a little bit, it starts to add on, and I always had to get in on the evening. So I would start the login. The 202 thing was the only real painful part, right? That was the one that like when they were having that issue, that was really frustrating me. And I think a lot of people, and I'm glad they figured it out. I just got to say, fuck, what the fuck? Why is 1.0 still coming up and screwing us over? Like, I thought we were done with it, but
We're never
no.
done.
I will never be done.
Never be done.
Jeez. But no, once that was fixed and I could just log in and say, all right, in about like 3-4 hours, I'll be logged in. I could go do other stuff, be productive, and I came back and I started playing and it was okay. That being said, we are now here, like, It's been almost a month since the game is launched, right?
Been a month. It's been a month and a day.
It's been a month.
So we're doing pretty good. The game the queues have died down a little bit. It seems to be pretty manageable to go in. No,
They went down. They went down for Christmas. They went down for
They
Christmas.
went
But like
down, yeah.
the 27th, they went right back up.
Oh,
I kind of want to say it also very much depends on your server. Because I've had some people in chat that are like, oh yeah, I play on EU and we have like 0 queue. And then there's people on Gilgamesh and like Leviathan that are in 20k queues every day.
I'm not going to be on Gilgamesh on Tuesday. I can promise you that. I'm going to
I got auto logged out when the show started, and I'm at 1200 to get back in on Genova. So
that's not bad. You know, I'm on
No.
Cactar, which was a peaceful server. It was
until the Fire Nation attacked.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's Saturday too, and everybody's trying to get in on the afternoon. So
I am keeping myself online while we're doing this.
You're
I'm
going
like,
for a jump.
I'm wandering around Corthus right now, just running left.
But I know like Gilgamesh, Sargatanas, and Genova on Tuesday morning are going to be like full.
Well, I mean, we'll get into that. We'll get into that a little bit later
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
I'm interested to talk about your opinions on how that's going to all pan out for when Savage is released. But let's talk about what we have actually. All right, here I'll put the. Sorry, guys. I'll put the mic up a little bit closer. I don't know what it's doing.
I don't want to
Maybe
get any
it's-
closer.
Maybe it's auto adjusting. I'll get right here. So Extremes came out, right? That was our first taste of difficult content for this expansion. How do you feel about Extremes at the moment?
In terms
Damn.
of difficulty, or in terms of like, wow, this is really cool that we're doing this? 'Cause I
Oh,
think
no.
that's two different questions.
Frosty, it's not you
Right.
talking into your mic. Your actual volume like took a
How-
massive.
How did my volume?
I just tuned into the stream.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. How about this? Is this better? A little bit better. I don't know if there's like an auto adjust or something somewhere randomly, but
You might have some like auto adjust on, like game control or something might be turned on.
let me check that out.
Chat
See if-
says you're better now.
Okay. Let me. I'll look at that. But keep going with your thoughts. We'll go first. Let's do aesthetics, right? How does the new Extremes look art-wise?
Well, they're
heart.
gorgeous.
Yeah, I think I like how colorful one is, and I actually like just how dark and atmospheric the other one is. They're open, right? You're in an open area. You're not like in a box. I like that.
Okay.
I could watch. I could do them a million times. I've already done them both enough times to get them out in point two, or I've gotten them out. But
Mhm.
I could just for the sheer sake. It's one of the only ones I left the voice on the whole time, the music on the whole time. It's just I couldn't have asked for a better farming experience.
Mm-hmm.
I think the only negative is that if you are completely brand new to the fights, especially the first one, are we doing no spoilers? Is the first one
so
is
let me say this real quick for everybody who's curious. When we're doing this show, unfortunately, we can't avoid complete spoilers. So there are going to be minor spoilers because we have to just talk about the specifics of things. So kind of accept that if you're trying to avoid the spoilers of the story and everything else, I would just not watch yet and watch later. Because we're probably going
I
to go
think
over some
we
stuff.
can refer to them as like EX1 and EX2
No,
Yeah.
without really
I
getting
mean, you
into
guys
it.
can if you want to. I don't give a shit. I mean, we're at a point to where we just have to like talk about
So
this.
Tataru and Ralbon.
Okay. They finally released Cape Westwind Savage
Yeah,
There
as
you
a
go.
new extreme.
they did.
Yeah, you included a clip of. Yeah, we included a clip of one of the extremes in the intro for
That is
Rin.
true.
It's there. You know,
That is true. It was the first thing you did was spoil. The very first thing you did.
I mean, we don't have to tell
Seasonally.
them. Maybe it's just some random encounter with some random thing that looks similar, right? You know.
It was a solo instance.
Yeah. So I do want to like not try to spoil things, but I'm not. If Zodiac and Heidelin, we can say those names. I don't give a fuck. All right, we're
Sure.
just at that point now. So, anyways, go ahead, Miss.
So I was saying that the only negative that I've heard from people that are completely brand new, like have never stepped into it before, is that the first one, Zodiac, is very busy, like visually. It's really hard to sort of pinpoint what exactly is happening per mechanic from the visual standpoint. But obviously it's like one of those things that the more you do it, the slower the fight feels, and like you start to see everything clearly and whatever. But the very first time you're in, it can be a little overwhelming just because of how much stuff is happening on the screen.
Can I add something to that? Because I hear that complaint and then I see people put 9 markers down or 8 markers down on the arena. That for me is the only thing that makes it visually difficult, because I cannot see the snakes through the like 4 marker, the
or
D
the stars
marker,
through all the markers.
Yeah, I can't stand putting down all those markers. Just there's circles on
one person's head and you're good.
Yeah, there's circles on the ground. Just please, like I get it in comms, people want to call like, a middle one or whatever, like, but even still it's like, oh, we're in Party Finder, stop.
Yeah. Some people have trouble finding the snake through like the clockwise or counterclockwise graphic, because they're cool colors and they overlap each other a little. But like one fight's Astral, one fight's Umbral, so you're going to have very bright colors in one and very dark in the other. And that's, again, for like a new raider, like you were saying, Miz, is hard for them to notice. But like a seasoned raider, you're going to get used to it because you kind of know to expect to look for certain things. So I guess it's kind of not fair for us to be like, yeah, it's easy. It's no problem.
Yeah, easy stuff, man.
Well, I think it's easy, but in Thrall of Shadowbringers, one of my greatest weaknesses in raiding was actually like mirrors. Any mechanic that was like putting mirrors or clones on the outside, like E8 and 9, that was like my brain scramble, like something I just couldn't do. And I took a lot of time to fix those. Dogs I actually didn't have an issue with. It was just something about mirrors and the clones that my brain couldn't get there. And I had that with this, so taking the time to spam this and kind of shoring up that weakness was it was super great for me. Yeah, it's easy after the fact, but even still, it's like I'd rather struggle with a mechanic and try to figure it out for myself to improve than not struggle with it at all.
Right.
It's all about the practice.
Yeah.
I'm playing Mario Party.
Like right now?
Party. Like a waffle. Yeah, like right now.
Yeah, at this moment.
There's a mechanic in the first extreme called Astral Eclipse where these stars show up on the arena, and people really, really want it to be a True North mechanic. They really can't wrap their heads around it being anything else. And the way it works is just these stars appear off the arena on the west, on the south, and on the east. And they just lay down on the arena. There's no shift it True North down or anything.
Like the Mario Party book.
Exactly,
Mario Party book. So I've explained it like turning a page of a book or like a waffle iron, right? And people just have a really hard time with that. I think that's been the biggest difficulty of that fight, or lining snakes up.
That reminds me of one of the dungeon bosses. Which one was it? The 75 one? Where it has
Venispati,
similar thing. And every time I run it, it's just a mess at that last boss.
I just put a mirror on my head now and get people to follow me.
That works.
My goal is just to make sure to stay alive at least until like 30-40%. Try to keep everyone alive until 30-40%, and then like I just solo the rest of it. It's fine because I'm a tank and I can live through this stuff apparently.
That sparked a lot of controversy too, where tanks can keep themselves alive. Now it's people. It's not fair for you to just if you wipe like 2 or 3 times, like it's gonna be faster to just kill the boss.
I'm not gonna do it like 90%, but like if we're like past halfway mark,
wiping like the last 20% or something.
Yeah, I'm not. I can't waste the time.
I think both extremes are very, very farmable, which is nice because it's the first extremes of the fight. I think it's weird that we have Zodiark and Heidelin, and now we're like, well, then the other extremes are supposed to be stronger thematically than these. So what are they going to give us? But I don't like these fights for practice, which is why I really like the Pandemonium normal raids because they have a lot of uptime. But the extremes break at a very bad section of everybody's rotation at the 2-minute mark. And then the 3-minute mark, the bosses go away and you're completely screwed out of any semblance of what you're trying to practice, which also kind of gave false impressions on job balance, right? Because this job sucks. And you're like, well, that one's padding and hitting all of the ads and getting a bunch of damage for free. So just wait. And then we got the normal mode raids and we got to see what things actually look like when people are doing their rotations properly and syncing up buffs.
Yeah, everything you just said was exactly what I meant when you asked initially. All that.
You just don't want to say it out loud.
So
it sucks.
You guys don't like when the rotation has to be broken up and not normal flow? Like you hate that? Because I mean, there is a discussion of liking how to recover from a bad rotation end.
That's where I was going with it.
It's not necessarily that either. It's more that people manipulated it and padded. So it's like, oh, we'll have 3 or 4 members ignore this so that you can increase your damage and fluff your numbers. And that's the part I don't like, because then people are playing suboptimally on purpose, and you develop bad habits.
Yeah, I don't care about those people though.
Yeah.
It's just anytime
I have to care about those people because they come to me to ask, how can I do this the best way? And I'm like,
yeah, but then I just tell them to just stop looking at FF logs and just learn how to play the damn game. All right, stop looking at the pad. Just no one cares. No one cares about your Zodiac parse. It's dumb. Just literally nobody cares. You don't even care. You're like, oh, this doesn't matter when Savage comes out. Nobody cares. Just stop.
Exactly. But I wanted fights, hopefully, where like Innocence and Titania were really good, because there were breaks in Titania with ads, and Innocence a little bit too. But you got to practice rotations in a little bit of a better way, so it prepared you for the first raid tier, where job balance is going to be different and people are learning the rotations. So I was just hoping we'd have a little bit of a better opportunity, which the normal modes provided. Okay. And there is a break in the 3rd floor that still gave you a chance to move things around and shift stuff. So we got that practice. I do like being able to move things around. Just I don't know. I don't know about you guys. Zodiac and Heidelin just didn't do it for me.
See, for me, I play Bard, so the normal modes were awful because they all die at a time where I have to do shifts to 4:30 or 5 minutes outside of Wanderer's Minuet, and I'm like, great, I love doing my burst during Ballad.
You know what else sucked? Reaper on Heidelin's ad phase, because they have to put up a debuff on the ads instead of a buff on themselves, and the ads don't live long enough for you to really get a benefit off of them. So that sucked.
I love it. I love horrible, messy stuff, dude.
Of course you do.
Because I'm a bad player. But, you know...
Y'all are.
So, you know... But that being said, after seeing this... Do you see like stuff that kind of concerns you with what Square Enix might be going forward with their design philosophy with doing harder content, or do you feel like that it's just a wash with Zodiac and Island and this is not going to be something that we have to worry about going forward?
It's not 2 minutes of downtime in Byakko, so I'm happy with it. They've come a long way from there.
Okay.
I haven't even thought about that in years.
Yeah, I had unfortunately had to remember that during our event that Happy and I were a part of not too long ago.
All right, well, you know, to be fair, that is the only one you beat faster than us because Larry disconnected.
Well, yeah. Happy and I had a grudge to go back and solo it on Warrior. So
yeah, Rin and I, that's another thing we've been doing this launch. I went and I did Doom Train the other day, and I almost have Chatternook.
It wasn't bad.
No, yeah, Phantom Train wasn't bad at all.
Super nice. Like Ron Tuition's changes for soloing content.
Bloodwedding is so stupid. Bloodwedding is so stupid.
It's really, really good.
I love. Although Gunbreaker, if you can survive, is definitely better for.
Gunbreaker's really good for Neo X Death. It's really, really good.
Oh yeah, you're gonna
soloing content.
No, it's not. But we were talking about stuff. Right. You got all normal mode loot for tank, right, Rin? You could probably go back and do Neo X Death on Gunbreaker now. You were at 4%. The gear's probably enough. Yeah, you could probably do it.
Head, gloves, boots, and ring. Yeah, we got 4% on UX. I could kill that.
Yeah, you could definitely kill that.
You guys are masochists, dude.
It's not that bad. It's fun.
It's not that bad. Happy and I actually teamed up because we couldn't solo regular X-Death last expansion.
We beat it in
we
one
both
try.
got them. Well, like we both took off half of the percent, so we teamed up in just one shot, and we're like, all right, what the fuck are we gonna do now?
And then you fell off on Phantom Train like 6 times. You could not stay on the. You couldn't stay on
the ticket.
All right. Well, let's talk. Let's start getting into the raid content a little bit and start talking about it. I guess let's just do an overall view of what you've seen and kind of what you think. Are you hopeful that this is going to work out really well and be a good Savage tier from what we've seen so far, or do you think it's going to be a little concerning?
I think it's going to be great.
Miz, I'm gonna make Miz answer this one. Miz.
I'm actually really looking forward to it. The 4th boss gives me like Holocarnassus vibes, which I think is literally like the most beautiful fight ever created. And if we get even like a little bit of that, it's going to be so much fun.
Yeah, I'm hoping for a sand puzzle. I'm hoping for a sand puzzle.
We didn't have the sand puzzle on Savage, though.
I know they didn't, but this is their chance.
I loved
sad
speculating
they
about
didn't
that
have it
sand
on there.
puzzle. I was like, dude, there's gonna be like times when like sandworms come like up and down, and you're gonna have to time going across the puzzle, and the time is gonna be shorter, and then they just didn't.
And then they were like, "You get nothing."
And it didn't show up. That was the saddest part about Halicarnassus. But we are getting Halicarnassus Savage now, which is nice. Savage.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, that's
It's gonna be. I just kind of want the Vampire Man to turn into a giant bat squatch.
That would be amazing.
You might.
I have my theories about Hesperos. I have my theories.
Yeah. Okay. Well, but you enjoyed it overall as a normal raid. It looks pretty good visually, music, things like that. Are we pretty content?
A lot of people don't like the classical music of the first 3 floors, but I'm a classical fan. I just don't know if it's going to keep me awake at 4 a.m.
The adrenaline will. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, the adrenaline will.
There's like that part with like the vocals where I think it gets really good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, on the 4th floor, yeah, it's really
well.
nice.
No, even in
Or
like
just in the
the
other
first
ones.
3.
I like
yeah.
the vocals in the first 3. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, me too.
So, I mean, it looks like it's going to be pretty interesting. Maybe we'll get a little bit of extra music in the 4th fight if they'd have another phase of that.
I don't think we will. I think that's going to be the theme for the whole thing.
Really?
It depends. There is one other theme I do expect to show up, but only if my theory is correct.
Okay. Let's
I
just
think it's a theme we've already heard too.
Okay, what's your theory? Let's just go ahead and go into it.
So, lore-wise, Hesperos he's the leader of Asphodelos. He can manipulate the arena around him, and to achieve eternal life and all his powers, he merged with a Verkokolas. A Verkokolas, it means vampire in Greek. And they won't show us what a Verkokolas looks like. We've seen all the other creatures, so I have to assume that he'll transform, into whatever this creature actually is. We're back in Elpis before, anything that's gone bad, no void, no reflections, any of that. I wonder what the concept for a Diabolos looks like.
You think
Do you like doors? I like doors.
I bet you it's gonna have wings. Heard it here first.
We were kind of leading into that anyways. I was expecting maybe like a Cerberus-esque ad in one of the fights to show up, but we didn't get one. There's still time.
He's going to transform into some sort of like bat, vampire, Dracula, something. Like, it's going to happen. It's just a question
or maybe
of...
have multiple forms.
Or multiple forms even. I
do like the idea of doors, because then you have to figure out your positioning based on where the doors are, and they'll transfer you over to a certain area depending on the floor mechanics and where you need to be.
Or the mechanic will come out of a door.
That's my
What if one of
tinfoil
the
hat
doors
theory.
takes you to Halicarnassus stand?
Yes, please.
I keep getting a hole in my head, by the way. I'm sorry, my Chrome filter or whatever is going. My Chroma filter's not working right, so sorry about that.
You're just green in the brain.
I'm just empty. I mean, back there. But that being said, with the sand puzzle, the thing that people will hate about that is that, oh, my parse is messed up. We just got to quit and redo it because I got to get really good parses, right?
I gobwalked for 6 months. They can deal with it.
I hear that. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Or what PvP elements, I guess, could we expect from these fights? Similar to
hopefully none.
Tiles? None? You don't think
so?
Actually, you know what? We were doing in the second floor. We were doing a mechanic, and I had my buddy with me to prevent me from dying. You have to pair up with little triangles over your heads, and he just fucking sprinted, and he just ran from me. I'm like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I wanted to join the group." So that's probably going to be a mistake. People are going to get very confused and miss each other for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay.
I have really high expectations from the second floor. It's gonna be really cool.
Do you have any ones that you're like, you don't have high expectations for at all, and you're like, eh?
I think the third floor is going to be miserable actually for Party Finder. I think it's going to be badass, but it's like Phoenix. And last time I fought Phoenix proper, I was a Dragoon with half the magic defense of anyone else, so I was not happy.
You're right.
He
you're
was
not.
happy.
Mm-hmm. He is, yeah.
I think Phoenix is going to be cool, but probably it's going to be the choke point of the tier.
Yeah. I actually think the second fight's going to be a disaster in the Party Finder.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of team baiting and doing things in the danger side and going into the safe side. I'm getting like Brute Justice intermission vibes, where people cut off the safe spots.
Okay.
That's why I have high expectations for it, because I think it's going to be fun.
All right. Well, let's talk about the first one. Let's just get into the first one with Mr. Cheney boy guy. How do you perceive this fight moving forward in Savage?
Trinity Avowed.
Alt-right.
Do you think
gonna
so?
get
Somewhere in
one shot.
between.
I think it's gonna get.
fall over,
I
yeah.
genuinely think it's gonna get one shot. I think even on Savage, I think it's gonna get one shot.
I mean,
That would be
Eden Prime
disappointing.
wasn't one shot, but it was figured out immediately. It was just a matter of not dying.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. First fights of every expansion is usually just like a cakewalk.
Well, I mean, let's go back and look. We got, what was E1S again? That was, yeah, Eden.
Eden Prime was a great first fight for the expansion. Even if it was easy, it was a great fight.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I think that was
Big
pretty
trip
solid.
up was the reverse delta attack after the intermission.
And the fact that all the AoEs were percentage. A lot of people just they couldn't process that it was percentage damage.
Mhm. And then what was the one before that? O1S, which was all
Literally got one shot by like 30 teams.
Yeah.
That's alt-right. That's what I'm referring to.
yeah. And then the one before that.
You don't go to the one before that. Don't do that. I
That's
don't want you to.
Sure? You sure you don't want to go to the one before that?
I don't take me back there, please. This isn't a world first stream. Just don't take me back to those times, please.
You guys don't want to see that little robot guy there anymore?
I don't want to see anything
With the
from
alarms.
Gordius.
And well, okay, I miss Faust sometimes. I miss Faust.
Faust was good.
If you could beat Faust, you could beat the fight.
I don't think anyone has a negative perception of Faust. Does anyone like hate that guy
The
exists?
people whose statics dissolved because they couldn't beat it sure did.
You know, that's all
And
right.
I did see that happen in a few circles.
Dude, Faust did them a favor.
It probably
You know
did
what?
them a
True.
favor. Yeah.
What
I
do you think about
remember,
the
so
first
that just
one?
like sparked a memory actually, because I remember watching streams because I was working at the time when like Gordius first came out, and I remember feeling so excited that Faust was like giving people so much trouble, and I was thinking, oh my god, it means like the whole entire raid tier is gonna be amazing because of this one little like trash mob, and I was wrong.
Man, I thought
Fourth fight
A1S was
so
good.
boring.
A1S was
Oh,
good.
A1S is fine.
A1 was good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
good.
Presser is fine.
A2 I thought was definitely interesting. I liked what they were trying to do there. I know they're never going to go back to that ever
I'm
again.
glad you liked that.
I
Yeah,
did
I know.
Godwalker. I did it as a machinist, and I was happy to do it because I felt like it was one of those things that was different. It was refreshing to me.
It was different. That was nice. You got to just like watch something on your other monitor while you walked around.
I mean, I was stressed out the entire time. I was trying
Stressed
to
out watching everybody else do it while I was in the Godwalker.
Mm-hmm.
And then A4 was boring. It felt like there was a fight
Well,
going
yeah.
on in the background for the range players, and the melees were just existing.
A4 was the big letdown for me for that tier, but yeah, it's
Talk about A4, please.
Yeah.
I don't want to do it. Although A3 is where my saltiest memories come from.
well, I love A3, but it did
For a lot of
destroy
people.
like the raid scene completely. I mean, it destroyed it and evolved it at the same time. I think.
Thornton
yeah.
helped that a lot. Thornton bridged a gap.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
still stand by that Thornton did not do us any favors. I'll die on that hill.
Mm-hmm.
Because we still beat him way before most of his mechanics in most parties.
Not
You
on
skipped the
Balmond.
entire last two.
It was a
On
learning
Balmond,
lesson.
A lot of people learned how to play the game.
Yeah.
I don't think they did based on how I remember Thornton.
Like relating that to the upcoming tier, though, I don't think any of the fights are going to be a letdown. I think they're all going to be really good. Maybe some of them will be boring, where you're going to get full uptime. You won't have to think too much, but we kind of need one of those when an expansion's new, anyways. So we can really flesh out each job.
Okay. And we think maybe, by the way, P1S. We're going P1S, P2S, P3S,
Yeah,
right?
I think
Just
Piss
making
is gonna probably be that fight.
Yeah, Piss Pass. Well,
yeah.
well, Piss Pass, Pess, and I don't know.
Dodge.
Yeah. I can't imagine any other way of doing this. There's no other way that I would name that. So, I mean, it is what it is.
I'm kind of a fan of turn 50 plus.
Well, okay. Listen, writing strats and stuff is gonna. You're like, all right. So for P3 of P2,
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that's pretty
P1.
annoying.
No.
Who says? I just say phase. I'm not abbreviating that.
You ever read a party
Oh.
finder description? I know you started joining PFs again.
Yeah, but I try only to read the bare minimum because sometimes people put in way too much stuff there. Not to mention the amount of times the party finder leader just has to say it again because somebody like
No
the
one
eighth
reads.
person. Yeah, the problem is the eighth person joins and they just see the open slot. They're like, oh, okay, hold on, let me join. And then they'll ask after. We really need a way to like save the party finder message so you could like just type /pfmes and it'll just put it in your chat log or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well,
you could use that.
For me, it's always I read it. Oh, that's okay. I join, and I completely forget what I agreed to. Throw it in. I have to re-ask what they're doing with their strat. But yeah, I am doing this all party finder again with the time that I have, and I'm kind of scared. But it's gonna work out. We'll find some good strat that like barely works, but everyone at least understands, and we'll get through it.
Depending on your data center. Each data center is going to latch onto something different.
For sure.
I hope so. I hope there's enough, room for variety and strats to be able to come up with different solutions.
I don't like people are already saying I have a happy change strat for the first fight. I don't like
I actually already saved your toolbox for it. Yeah.
Please stop. Please don't do it. No.
Well, they're not stat chains.
Stop it.
No. Okay, let's talk about Piss a little bit more here. So what mechanic in there are we expecting to be upgraded, and what are we expecting to be upgraded to?
The triple colors where you have a quadrant section. Mm-hmm. My speculation, I wanted to make it not too difficult, not too easy in my head. So I was thinking, what if we had a thrice come ruin? You can only cross the quadrants so many times.
That was one of the first things I landed on too.
Okay.
I can't think of too much else other than that they rotate like each section or something.
I've thought.
Or they make you like run in a certain direction, like force march.
Yeah. I hope it's not force marches because then they'll have to do 2 or 3 back to back, and that's toxic.
And people are gonna hate getting their character taken away from them for a second.
Yeah. I thought of knockbacks from each of the explosions to send you into another quadrant, so you have to aim the knockback or something like that.
Or you just use your anti-knockback,
Yeah, and then die. And then there was also, I had like 3 or 4 ideas. I also thought that maybe his jailer's flail actually could be elemented, and you might have to get hit to swap your element to make sure you don't die.
Or multiple flails to create a quadrant instead of a safe half.
Yes, that as well.
Or he throws down 4 of them, and you got to like do like Trinity Seeker mechanics working around them for the safe spots, something like that.
They're all like really simple, just quick hot cold mechanics we've seen before, but it's something in that vein. All of those things are possible. Not all of them at once, just like one of them will be.
It will never be like a multi-layered mechanic in the first fight that we haven't seen in the normal mode in some way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Miz, do you have any additional thoughts on that, or did they just steal all the good ideas?
Well, yeah, basically. I think the only other thing that I've seen from like a visual standpoint is a lot of people mention that if you count the chains on his back, he's got 8 chains. So there's going to be something that, where literally every person is chained and you have to either use a knockback to get knocked into the proper quadrant. I don't know. I'm assuming there's going to be chains, a lot of chains.
Yeah. I hope so, because I made a lot of graphics for... well, I didn't make graphics, sorry.
Happy already made the strap for it, so it better have them.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have chains in our graphics set, so I hope that's a big theme going into this raid. Going into the world race and everything, so... I do feel like it's going to be one shot. I do feel like it's going to be super easy to understand. Oh, this mechanic's coming on. I know exactly what to do here. Are coming... so it's... I don't have too many worries about P1S. I don't know if there's anything else we can really add to it. I mean, those colors are... I think I remember the colors being extremely bright.
Yeah.
And hard, yeah.
And yeah, Happy, what did you think of the colors? You love the colors, right?
Where's the leave called? All right.
I don't know if you guys notice this either, Miz, too. But when you're in the roulette, like the little roulette phase where there's the circular arena, there's 8 of each color.
Yeah.
So we might have to do like a spread. Each person gets
Some
their
sort
own
of
color.
separation. Yeah.
There's also 8 on an inner circle, 8 of them are on an outer circle. 8 if
Maybe
you split the
they'll
room
rotate.
directly through the middle of the room. There's 8 on the left, 8 on the right. So yeah, all that stuff. There's definitely going to be splitting up there.
Yeah. I just my goal for first. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I'll say my goal for a first fight is always, I hope that it's a fight where you die to a mechanic and you know what you did wrong. Because for new players, it's going to be like their first Savage fight they've ever done. So I just want it to be something intuitive. Later fights can have things where you're like, what? And who wiped me? But at the beginning, I really like it. Like Chaos, I thought was a perfect first fight for a tier. Because you messed up and you're like, oh, okay. We messed up. That's what we did.
Yeah.
That's my goal. That's my expectation.
Yeah, so what I was about to say is kind of in line with that, where I feel like we've seen so many different mechanics that our brains like to sort of jump to all these conclusions, all these possibilities, but we have to like dumb it down a bit because it's going to be the first fight of the expansion, the first Savage. So I think what to expect from it is that it's going to be relatively simple, right? And while it would be fun to have like all these crazy mechanics with like, 8 people have 8 different responsibilities, I think it's not really going to be that difficult, at least for the first round.
Okay. Well, I mean, I absolutely agree with everybody here. I think that I do kind of want it to be a little difficult on that side. Maybe like gear check or DPS check difficult, and not as much like Yeah, I want them to be like
I'd like that
you can't
too.
go in with the normal mode gear, right? You want crafted.
Yeah. They at least need all the normal mode gear. I guess that would be like what I would hope. And then the crafted stuff, whatever. We won't need as much crafted gear, I guess, this time either, because you have all your normal stuff already.
We're basically half geared right now, so they could crafters can prioritize the pieces we don't have and then make the other ones we do.
Make them all. I need everything.
Yeah, unless they have skill speed on them and you're playing arranged.
I could do 2.48. I got room.
There you go.
I could have one piece that has skill speed.
It's weird seeing like plus 80 something skill speed and you're like, all right, well, my GCD just jumped. It's been a long time since that's happened.
It'll be all right. Listen, I did 1.6 GCD Monk and Bozja. I'll manage. All right, I'll figure it out.
Okay. All right. So let's go into fight 2 then. Let's talk about this fight, because this is the one that's a little bit. I mean, I feel like this is like their thing. Fight 2 is always the one that has like this kind of gimmick sort of situation to it, right?
Voidwalker was actually easier in Savage than it was in normal mode, I think. Normal mode at least had random towers.
Voidwalker was really difficult.
Voidwalker was really difficult right at the enrage sequence when you had to do cycles. That part was hard.
Right.
But everything up until there was pretty. You saw it and it did what you thought it would do.
Yeah, but people just can't avoid the eyeball. So many damage downs.
Okay, you know what we need? We need the first fight to give us spell and waiting right out of the gate. We're back in time. Give us some time magic just right out of the gate. Teach people what it is.
Okay. But the second fight, it's with the gutters and the drains and don't stand here square kind of thing. There's a lot of stuff they can work with on that, and I think this is following the complaints that people have every once in a while, not just wanting circle arena. So now we're just getting like these. Every once in a while, we get one that's just not a circle arena, and they're going to have fun with it. And this is that one, right?
Yeah.
So what are your hopes for it? I'm going to start with Ms. Tech.
So biggest thing is that the boss itself, I think, doesn't have any positionals, right? It's like omnidirectional.
Yeah.
So the craziest thing I can think of, which might be going a little too far, is that the grates that we see on normal mode disappear for Savage, and people are forced to go into pairs per little platform on the edges.
You mean like the grates between each cardinal?
Yeah, so the only thing available would be the raised platforms when the water comes through, which might work. It doesn't work with some of the mechanics in normal mode right now, because obviously you need the ability to kind of like spread. Like you can spread the circles 2 per, but you can't do like the sewage spread, like the ground circles. Anyway, but I could totally see them limiting movement to like a more severe degree on Savage, and then forcing us to handle mechanics in like these tiny little areas, these tiny platforms.
So on that note, if you look in the center of the room, one of those drain pipes actually becomes the source of the water. And I have a feeling that all the different grates, it's going to be possible for that. So when he uses sewage deluge, I believe it's called, it's not always going to be the one in the center. It could be one that comes from one of the raised platforms, the squares. It could be one of the grates that separate it. Because you can do pretty much any mechanic in any of those sections if you're really careful. So I think that that's going to be the big thing, is he's going to be flooding different parts. He's going to be separating you into 4 groups of 2. He's going to be separating half the room. He's going to be just eliminating the bottom floor without the grates like he does in normal. I think all of those things are going to happen.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. I think we'll also see something. So I was talking about that too, because if the drain comes up from one of the corners, it would just flood the 2 side lanes, but not the ones opposite, right? So you could do something where it floods half the side, but then a head disconnects and cleaves down another side. So we really only have a true quadrant. Maybe we'll have to do like some sewage eruption baits from a danger side into the safe side. Or maybe he's going to like flood half the arena and then we have to get the knockback AoE jumped from one side to the other. Something akin to that. I think we're going to be a lot more restricted. Definitely. I think we're kind of all in agreement that it's going to restrict us a lot more than we were given in normal mode.
There's also the possibility, like in normal mode, his head goes away and he grows another head immediately. There's a possibility that more than one head will affect the platform at a time.
Yep.
Okay.
That's true.
They got a lot to work with, but it seems like it's all going to be like square line base kind of attacks, right? Nothing too crazy.
Yeah, I don't think we'll see a difference in the types of attacks we're being hit with.
Okay.
Yeah. I think the big thing is the half room AoE and the third room AoE is also going to be joined by dissociation to cut even more. So that's the hitboxes on the center. What's it called again? Something.
I mean, it might not be, but I'm going to be upset if it's not.
Yeah. So there's a lot of the good thing about fights like this is it feels like the intention of what they expect you to do going into Savage is a little bit more explicit without kind of spoiling you as to what's going to happen. And I like when arenas, this is something the dev team has been really good with, especially in the last expansion, is making sure the arena tells you all you need to know.
Oh yeah, like the grates are good cutoff points too for like when he's going to jump. There's like a very specific half point, or you're on this side of the grate, you're safe, you're not, which is awesome. It's kind of like you have the time to study normal modes on the first tier, right? So it feels like you do the fights a couple times, you're like, these are hollowed. There's something missing, right? You're just kind of trying to fill in what it is that's missing.
Yeah, this is like one of the only times that we can actually have a show where we're discussing it in this kind of detail. Maybe not. Maybe they'll change it up.
Maybe. I would be happy. I would be happy if I got to enjoy this story each time.
We would all be happy.
Yeah.
Happy army.
That's true.
I don't see. That's the best part of a good joke is one you don't even need to tell.
No, it's just like implanted in people's heads, and it's just like
it's so beautiful that I'm crying on my pepperoni.
Oh yes, there it is.
Like when you get the Barney song stuck in your head, and you're just like, I can't get it out. I don't want it to be there anymore, but it's there. That's how I feel about the joke. You know.
I understand. I think you're getting. I think you're preparing for your kid a little too much if Barney songs already getting stuck
Barney.
in your head.
They're not going to watch Barney. They're going to watch.
I won't allow it.
They're going to watch Bluey. Trust.
They're going to watch Bubble Guppies.
Bubble Guppies. Yeah. No. I'm going to make them watch like
Blue's Clues. Bubble Guppies.
Yo, did you? I went to high school with the current Blues Clues guy, Joshua.
Really? Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, he was a grade above me.
That's amazing.
Crazy. Yeah.
You ever
it's
sit
amazing.
down in a chair?
No, stop.
Yeah, like, Mel, hey, can you give me a sign, like a signature and like autograph and everything, and say you
probably not, because I haven't spoken to him since his second year in college. So probably not.
Okay. No, my child's gonna probably be watching like the BBC late night shows and everything. I'll just put that up there, and she'll learn a lot. She'll learn a lot.
Get the retro
Yeah. Like all her books will be encyclopedia or like encyclopedias up there, and we'll just go through them. Bedtime stories.
Who's your kid, Gohan? Like what?
I don't think Chi-Chi was that cruel.
Okay, if you say so.
Okay, all right. Back to Savage here. Back to Savage. Is there anything else you would like to maybe theorize on that fight, or is that pretty much straightforward?
Don't give us a damage down if somebody doesn't stack with us. Just kill them.
So how does it know who's the wrong?
That was miserable.
Oh, they could do it.
It was miserable giving us damage downs.
make it to where like you have to be in the right area, and whoever's in the right area is okay, but the people not in the right area die?
You could.
I do have one thing I want to talk about, and this was something we very particularly practiced from normal mode.
Okay.
The range of heals and buffs. If you are in the very center, if you're in the very front edge of the square, you can hit everyone with most abilities other than things like collective and whatnot.
I almost feel like it was intentional because it's not a perfect square of cutoff arena, right? You can use the inner corners of those tiles. And it was something very specific with E7 Savage during the Birdnado phase where you could catch each other across the arena. But it was very tight.
Okay.
Be very aware of
other
that
than
during
that, just
tough
communicate
times.
with your teams. If you're able to team up and come near each other, then do it.
All right. I mean, it's been like a meme since the expansion came out. It's like how ridiculous the healer range is on some of the things. Like, was it Earthly Star takes up like 2 arenas or something, basically?
It's Earthly Galaxy now.
Galaxy,
it is sorry. Earthly Galaxy. But these bosses' hitboxes are huge, so it's easy to easily outrange each other.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's a change they kept from. I noticed when we went into Umbra back in the end of Shadowbringers, that was really the first place we saw these super large hitboxes. And I remember it being a very widely complimented thing that they made the hitboxes as big as they did. So it seems that they want to.
Garuda. That thing was so tiny.
Dude, I tanked that thing for 5 hours, and I hate it. I hate Garuda so much. Just moving.
Walks through your GCD, and you're like, son of a... I know I was there.
Yeah, but you did it. You've done it a million times more than I have. I only did it for 5 hours, and it drove me crazy.
Yeah. I do it once, and I'm done. You guys are masochists. Anyways, going on, we can go into the third fight now, which is kind of, I don't know. In general, this fight, them throwing just an I in the name, and I was just like, all right, I guess it's what's Phoenix.
It's Phoenix from Jersey.
Jean Grey, the boss.
Hey, yo, you see this Phoenix over here?
See, Happy knows.
Yeah, he does. He does.
I want to hear your thoughts on it, Miz, because I used your video to do Phoenix in a Realm Reborn.
Oh, really? Oh, original Phoenix. Gotcha.
I used your video on the upcoming fight.
So I'm kind of the opinion that Savage will probably be easier than normal mode, because right now it's like the orange on orange on orange on orange is just awful for this fight, especially if you're colorblind. So I don't know, because I feel like Savage not usually having telegraphs or like the circles or the excess orange will actually be helpful in this, I definitely think there's going to be more patterns like the experimental fire plume. We have 2 on normal mode. There's probably going to be more, at least 3, if not more, on Savage. I wonder, though, if there will be more to the ads. So call back to the original Phoenix, where there's a little bit more resting on exactly how you position where they die and stuff. Like, I don't know.
Or multiple lives.
Yeah, where they just come back. I don't know. It is pretty.
Really see a Flames of Rebirth, did we? In normal mode?
Not like no. I don't know.
No, it's called Rain of Fire. Yeah, the boss just does Rain of Fire, which is just room-wide damage, and then Dark Rebirth, which makes all the teeth show up.
You think they're teeth? Everyone keeps saying that,
teeth,
and I think they're like weird birds, like huddled in like this, right? They got little eyeballs.
Yeah, that's how I think of them.
Teeth don't normally have eyeballs. Happy.
I thought they were just like little.
Teeth don't normally fight either. Neither do eyeballs.
The biggest surprise, though, for normal mode was just how much the tank auto attack damage was. Because all of those teeth, as soon as they or whatever the birds, I can't say it.
It's chewing on your health.
Yeah,
exactly. The off tank is getting hit by 4 autos at a time.
Yeah, and that was pretty nasty for normal mode, right? So I'm curious to see if that's going to be worse or harder on Savage, or if they're going to do something completely different with the teeth or whatever. Because they like follow the boss around, and then they start doing mechanics in that second phase after the ads on normal. So I could see Savage, the ads or the teeth or whatever the heck they are, adding to like the overlap of mechanics in that last phase.
Like they'll come off and do mechanics, and then maybe like the off tank will have a little bit of a reprieve for a moment.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
I'm going to say a controversial statement right now, but I know that Phoenix's attacks are physical, and the little teeth eyeball birds are magical. So I'm not going to say Dark Knight is a pretty good tank for that. Twitter's going to have a field day if I tell you Dark Knight's a good pick for that part.
Good, just say it's Warrior instead.
We are thinking about Warrior Dark Knight for that fight because you have the double oblation in conjunction with Nascent and Bloodwedding, and Dark Mind's going to see a lot of value. But one thing I noticed too is so we have the mechanic where we have like it's basically Cruise Chaser, right? We have to do the Shiva pattern and dance around, or we have to get out. And then we saw another dark pattern with the dark ones, but we only saw one. So I think they're probably hiding another configuration. Like we had an 8-player spread, we might have an 8-player dark stack or something. There's a Fate Breaker did the same thing, right? Where it hid not all the configurations that we could see. So I definitely think we'll see interactions like that pop up.
Okay.
A big one that I think is, for me, super obvious from normal is the dive bombs. The middle Phoenix head is the one that does the dive bomb there. I suspect you'll have to watch which heads are doing the dive bombs.
I fully expect either 2 heads to glow, or you might just have left, right, and middle. Maybe with other things happening too.
Yeah. So that was a pretty obvious
synthetic
ones.
shields happen too, right? Where we had the arena get cut off. The Omega MNF mechanic where you quadrant it off and then something, but nothing really happens. We just kind of bait an AoE, then we go back to the middle.
So that's going to be, there's going to be split damage, spread damage there. They're going to force you. What's going to happen is it's going to start creeping, and then there's going to be a mechanic that pops as it's creeping into the middle, and you're all going to have to
fire AoEs, except it's not going to be RNG players. It'll actually be certain like roles or something. So we have to split up in a certain way.
I also think the white fires are going to be a lot more like Limit Bird. And
Limit Bird?
Limit Bird. So we have numbers 1 through 4 and 4 eggs in normal for the Darkened Fires. I suspect we'll have 1 through 8 and either 8 eggs, and then they all. The one thing I saw that was really interesting is the idea that all their explosions are staggered on Savage, so you have to know which one, like 1 goes to where, and 2 goes to where, and 3 goes to where, etc., etc. Or that you have 4 eggs and it takes half of their health bar each, and they still have staggered explosions, but 1 and 5 need to catch the fastest one, and 2 and 6 need to catch the next fastest one, and etc., etc. But I think that's going to be a full-blown 8-person Limit Bird going into Savage.
So I had an actual like silly suggestion for this. I don't think this is like actually potentially going to happen, but so on normal mode, the numbered Blackfire whatever. There's circles, right? Now imagine if every single number had different shapes and you had to make like houses and like flower shapes to like pick all the different patterns out. I think that'd be cool, but I don't think they'll do that. like
the Lakshmi AoEs, except you have to use them differently. Because Lakshmi kind of had that where she would like mark people with like cross AoEs and circle AoEs, and you had all these weird shapes that people would make.
I would be so happy with that. That would be so cool.
Yeah. It's house, guys. House pattern. Do the house.
To the house.
Yeah, triangle plus square. There you go. Back to basic elementary shapes.
We can make clown emoji.
Yeah.
Gonna make for some great Twitter posts if it happens.
Oh yeah.
It's the dick and no, sorry, I didn't want to be lewd.
Too late. I mean,
yeah.
You already said the lewd part of it. I don't.
That's like when you're listening to like a song on like normal TV and they say ass but they bleep out hole. It's like that's exactly what just happened.
That's okay. I do have to change. I do have to change my channel to non-mature filter for the charity stuff coming up soon. So I'd get it out now if you needed to.
Enjoy your ban.
But so okay, is there anything that we haven't seen that you think they could add to it that's not building off of something that what is there right now, but just something that we know from other Phoenix fights that could be applicable here?
Phoenix and Cruise Chaser both, because this is essentially Phoenix Chaser in terms of the normal mode mechanic. So you have, the barrier from normal mode. You have it's sort of the time limited stuff. I don't think they're going to hang the arena or anything like they do in Cruise Chaser, but I mean, that's even where the whole combination of the Darkened Fires plus Cruise Chaser is Phoenix, but with limit cut, essentially. So I think that the ads is probably the biggest thing. I think Miz is right about that's going to be completely different. And that's probably going to borrow something a little bit more in terms of the rate at which you kill them and where they're actually placed on the arena. I think that's the biggest thing, but it's kind of tough to tell because while it
We
can
might
borrow
even
from
have
all those
the
things.
resing as different, like not just all teeth or whatever. We could
Yeah.
have like some are teeth and some are whatever unknown entity.
Fingernails.
No, claws.
One thing I think is going to happen is I think the teeth are going to give a stacking debuff to the off tank, and you're going to have to tank swap for the off tank and not for the main tank.
That was my next thing. I was going to say I don't think there's a forced tank swap in normal mode yet, but it is kind of like a Phoenix type thing where you're going to have to swap at some point.
Yeah, I think it's just the teeth autos or something the teeth does is going to give the off tank stacks, and you're going to have to swap who the off tank is more importantly than who the main tank is.
Well, so like I said before, one is physical, one is magical. It's very possible there's just going to be like a debuff that prevents the other.
Yeah, like one starts making you take more magic, one starts making you take more. Yeah, I mean that's another thing. There is also the double tank buster that happens both at the same time. I don't think that's going to be a double tank buster, or something else is going to have to change there. I think that's too simple, but I guess with the way tank busters were in Shadowbringers, I wouldn't be surprised if it stayed that simple.
Yeah. We didn't get like a GA 100 in that fight, right? That was in 2. Or
yeah, we didn't get a GA 100.
Maybe there'll be one. I don't know.
Yeah,
Boss's hitbox is big enough that it could split us up into half of the arenas. So
okay.
Do
you guys like the bigger hitboxes and bigger arenas overall?
Yes.
Like
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm on range physical now, and even I still think it's great. Until I
the only negative about it, and this is just like I don't mean to like call out my op tank, or my code tank. We've been having issues where we can't pull the first boss into the proper position just because of how big it is. So we need a little bit more practice on that, but that's the only negative.
Just pulling it south and then flipping it at the time.
Yeah, that's what I suggested. I was like, we should just pull it all the way south and then worry about it after.
Yeah,
I like the bigger hitboxes, but like Phoenix is going to seem weird because it's not a positionless boss. That kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think positioning Phoenix is going to be really obnoxious to do it like well and not annoying. I think it's
I think
a
the
pain in the butt.
fourth boss is going to be a pain because the fourth boss never stops casting.
No, have you not done like the corner strat?
No, I mean that's fine, but I don't think we're going to just stand in the corner the whole time on Savage.
That's fair, yeah.
No, but if you're a tank, you can pivot at 45 degrees. So then, like on knockbacks and stuff, you time your anti-knockback, and then the group goes from one flank to the other flank.
No, I know that. Like normal mode is great and all. I'm talking about when Savage rolls around. I think he's going to be. It's positioning him. We're not going to be able to hold him in one corner for 3 minutes.
That's a fair point.
There's a reason I'm bringing the tank that has 4 gap closers.
Yeah. One of them is a front flip. Many front flips.
I like the many front flips.
I like the many front flips
great.
also. Yeah. So I think the fourth boss is going to be I'm not worried about tank positioning. The second boss, I think if it wasn't omnidirectional, I'd be very afraid of positioning the second boss. But it's omnidirectional, so I'm not worried.
But the third one, we're gonna have like the Shiva pattern and stuff. Like I don't know if you noticed this too, Miz, while you were tanking, but you could always pull it to an intercardinal and then adjust because the pattern always started on a cardinal, which might still be true in Savage. So maybe something to think about for tanks that are listening.
See, I love this discussion because I know that some people are not partial to the idea of getting 2 weeks between every normal and Savage because you can like do this with the fights and it kind of diminishes that more like quick thinking like prog that you get in the other 2 tiers. But I love these kind of discussions. Like it just, I don't know, it drives discussion, and that's something 14 frequently doesn't have unless you kind of force it.
It's so great for streamers and podcasters. So
it is. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Well, I also feel like it's good for just the sheer number of people doing normal modes. Because I think when we don't have to go into normal mode, no one does. You know, you go straight into Savage and you just learn Savage, and that's it. And this week, I think I've done more normal modes than like any other expansion in the game combined.
How many times did you clear Shiva normal, Miz?
Shiva normal?
I did it once.
Once? Yeah, literally just once.
Yeah.
And
maybe you do it twice because you have an alt.
Yeah, that's true. Having the time to do it, it's actually kind of enjoyable. Like I've actually had fun clearing normal modes, and I can't say that for previous tiers because I would just be annoyed that I was like even had to do it once to unlock, you know?
Right.
There are people getting a little competitive about it too, which is really nice because it's like something to do, but if you don't care, you don't have to.
Well, I mean, a big thing is like with FF logs, like I don't think people care as much about their parse percentage. Like the interest in that is just diminished, I feel, over time. There's some people who ride high on it, but when you're doing speed kills, sometimes it's really unoptimal for your parse percentage, but it's really good to kill the boss super quick. Because you might kill the boss at like a time where it's like completely out of buff windows, and even though you killed it really quick, it's still like I can't really squeak out a big log like that. But speed kills and like optimizing like that, I think Momo is ahead of his time. And then I remember Rinchan did it back in like Alex and like A12 and stuff. They've always been like ahead of their time when it comes to the more exciting part about doing bosses super well.
So like LB cheesing in Stormblood was awesome until you got like 3 in Kefka and your ninja hated it.
Dude, what about in MNF where you just tank LB'd like 4 times?
That wasn't bad too. There's some really good times in speedrunning. You get to do some janky stuff, and yeah, sometimes your personal parse is really bad, but other times it's also really good. Like a healer is going to do more damage in a faster kill, no matter what happens. Those types of things are nice, and it gives you good practice to beat the enrages of janky strats in week 1, right? Like when we're progging, like there's going to be. I think all 3 of us are going to be doing like cutting edge progression, right? So we're going to have to do janky stuff and deal with downtime.
I'll just be watching you guys.
Knowing how to play around, it's going to be great.
Yeah, I think we're all streaming, right?
Yeah.
So you can watch all of us.
That's literally the world first stream. I was telling him before this started. It's literally like the most like high octane react stream.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do, Frosty, I'm going to have you up on my other monitor, right, with your stream. And the moment I see my POV come up, I'm just going to pull up Disney pictures.
I'm sure you are. I'm sure
just
you
gonna
are.
play copyrighted music.
Well, when we were doing Lions, I pulled up Simba and I used him for my
it's like, I don't know if we can have this on the stream. Because Disney was doing some stuff, I think, with copyright stuff with Twitch pretty bad then, too. Or there's something that came up with it. But it's going to be fun. I'm only going to do minimal casting. Most of it's going to be tracking and organizational stuff in the background. Because I think that's just what I have to do at this point. It's trying to put together the Final Fantasy XIV world race scene and the logistics and all that stuff is completely different than the other scenes where you can easily just hook up an API and just make it work. And it's like, oh, it's done. It's easy.
True.
So we appreciate you for it, even if it's that hard.
We've been doing it forever.
Yeah.
It's really great seeing like everybody progress and seeing all the ranking stuff, and then like once the final fight's dead, you see like 9 or 10 JP teams that didn't report anything until the final kill.
Yep, that's just how it is. That's part of the scene, and that's not going to change unless if Square Enix. You know what? If Square Enix one day just like released an API that was friendly to like racing and everything and clear times and stuff,
like Palace of the Dead, but open achievements for the Savage fights.
Yeah, I'd just be like, thank you, I can sleep. You know, I appreciate.
Then what would you do?
I would just sit back and retire, man. I would retire. Yeah, maybe, I don't know. We would figure that out.
We would still need your commentary.
Yep,
maybe
100%. 100%.
Well, let's do. We've talked about the first 3. We got one more to talk about here before we go on a couple other topics. I do want the 4th one is always the one it's a little bit more difficult to pin down. You can pin down some of it, but half the fight's normally a mystery, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's go off of what we know and what your thoughts and expectations are. And I'm gonna start with Miz again, if that's all right, Miz.
Sure. So like I said earlier, huge Holochronasis vibes, like the whole tiles, the different little elements. I don't know. I'm hoping for something like I love fights where it's just like dancing around the tiles and handling like the environment at the same time as the boss. So I'm hoping for something like that, but we'll see. Mechanic wise, I'm assuming the easiest answer for this would be more than one of the tiles will go off at the same time. So you're going to have to like pair and overlap the mechanics. Maybe having all sorts of other things while also dealing like a knockback into 2 of the tiles at once. I could see happening. And this is all for phase 1, right? Like the door boss, because I think we're all kind of assuming that there will be a second section.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be a checkpoint.
When was the last time they didn't?
That's a good question.
You don't think there will be a checkpoint?
I don't think there'll be a checkpoint. I think it's going to be like Titan and Shiva.
Like Titan?
Yeah, Titan and Shiva.
I mean, I
can
could
see
see
that.
the empowered element. You know, like you had the cape and the sword. So I could see like maybe we're gonna have to get knocked from the cape into a water knockback or the other way around or something. So we're gonna ping pong
Into a spread.
things like that. Yeah, why not?
There's so if you look real close at the boss itself, before all of the roll circles and the roll orbs or whatever, he sucks in aether on his sword, and then he uses that to like poison the mechanics, which makes it so that you have to not be in your proper roll to satisfy the mechanic or whatever. So I was thinking there might be like mechanics that are similar, and the only thing that changes is whether or not they're like poisoned or not.
I don't think our roll is going to matter. I think it's going to grant us a roll. Or maybe like we'll start with our original roll and be granted a debuff for another roll. You know, like Digititis, where you grab the different... Yeah. So like maybe you'll take a healer tower and now you're prohibited from taking a healer tower the next time.
Yeah, that would be awesome. That'd be cool.
But it still gives you the orb for your roll.
Right.
Do you guys want to know how stupid I was on that fight? I saw the rolls and I'm like, does that mean I can't go to it? Does that mean no tanks for this one, or like it is tanks, or like I got completely confused and fucked it up.
We did too.
Yeah,
I said. Yeah, I said the same thing, but I still did it as if it wasn't the case. I was like, that's an X, so I probably shouldn't. But let me just. Yep, definitely not supposed to do that. Okay.
Yeah, because it didn't make any sense in my head. I was like, why would they? Why would they just tell you the one not to go to? Why would they not tell you the one to go to? And so I was just.
We could also get a combination of things too, right? Where it's like an intermediate relativity where we're granted a number of things we have to do in an order.
Oh yeah, we're definitely gonna have like the stack of buffs. You know, all tanks and healers will have this. DPS will do that. Yeah.
I hope you're ready for Vampire Rampant, where you have the orb. You have the orbs chasing you.
Yeah, you have to bait the orbs into a tower, but the tower changes the debuff you have, so you have to time it so you catch the third buff that's available. So you're a DPS, you stand in a healer one, then you take a tank orb.
There you go. Yeah, Vampire Rampant.
You handle it all 8 at once.
Miz wanting us to suck each other's blood.
Yeah, think about it. So say you're granted like the healer role, and then to become a tank, I have to run over to the tank and like bite them
like a duty action.
Yeah, exactly.
So
basically just like taking WoW mechanics and
that's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, that's Ice Citadel. Ice Cross Citadel.
Yeah.
Right? Oh my god, that would be fun. I
mean, it's a vampire boss. Why not bite each other?
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. Welcome.
Hey, that gave them a damage buff. That was a damage buff there, so I'd be okay with it.
Oh, I was sent an image and I don't quite understand it. Maybe I'm just stupid. But it's of a cape behind a PlayStation 4. I don't know if that makes any sense to you guys. Uni sent
because
it
it's P4S and it has a cape.
Oh,
and the boss has a cape.
There we go. I was like, why is this not registering in my head?
Because we make things more difficult than they need to be.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I was like, is there something with PlayStation and the name of the boss? And
yeah, Symphony.
The P and the S.
Released.
Yeah. Okay, I got it. Thank you, Uni. Thank you. Now you're reminding me how stupid I am.
Also, people laughed, but Expedient is going to probably be so nice for certain mechanics.
Who's laughing at
I love that ability. It is so good.
I love it.
People like to talk shit about Scholar and, you know, memed the entire pre-expansion time, but so good.
All the healer mains were like, it's going to be great. And they're like, haha, fast. And they're just like, you guys are dumb.
Raid members go
first. It does either.
There's
not just a speed boost.
Yeah, there's two parts of that conversation. We knew everyone who knew what they're going to do were going to make complete use out of it, and it was going to be great.
Yeah.
The meme is always on the side of people who don't know what they're doing and just pressing it randomly, right? That's where the meme is. We're still going to probably see that in Savage. I still think as people are going to use it as a normal heal and throw people off. You're going to run into
I think somebody's going to whip someone into a wall or a knockback into a death wall.
Yeah.
Oh, it's happened.
It's not as bad as like BA Savage though, because that was really fast.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Was it Lost Impetus?
Yeah, Impetus. Zooming.
I think it's going to be an awesome ability, and people are going to probably want Scholar in to figure out how to get quick to certain mechanics and everything else, but I don't know. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I mean, we could talk on that a little bit about the jobs in general and what you all are thinking about how the jobs are going to go into this raid tier as. Like, if any of it seem like they're going to be nerfed or buffed or anything else.
Ninja's got problems right now. Not necessarily with its damage, but it forces itself to gap close into the boss during moments, at least in normal mode, where it really doesn't want to do that. So maybe if they changed a way to reserve your stacks of Forked Raiju, that would be not bad. A lot of jobs are really good. I think a lot of jobs are really, really good right now.
We're going to probably be in the same position to where you could... What do I want to...
Like both of you Paladin mains, you want to see them get a little bit of a damage up, or do you think they're okay?
You said Paladin?
Yeah.
You're asking
Paladin.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So when it was just the EXs, and I was like looking at all the stats on FF logs, and Paladins were at like 60% of the other tanks, I was like, oh my god. But honestly, it was like the downtime. Because now that we have logs to compare fights where there is a lot more uptime, I definitely don't think it's like as bad as it initially felt.
Low.
It is, yeah, it is still low. I think a minor potency buff would be fair. I don't see us like getting a crazy buff, but I expect some adjustment, or at least I hope for some adjustment. I mean, I would love a bigger buff, sure, but I realistically don't think.
Was like slap 10 potency on Holy Spirit and 10 potency on Atonement. Call it a day.
Yeah,
I think you throw 10 potency on Fast and Riot. I think both Fast and Riot should get 10 potency each, and the first two parts of the new combo.
You get a potency. You get a potency. Every single ability gets a potency.
Yeah.
I think they should give 10 potency on the first two combo actions for that. Yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah,
like after doing
the same potency on them.
Yeah, after doing normal, I'm not as like scared anymore. But I think I agree with a slight adjustment is called for. I don't know. I don't like to be disappointed, so I don't want to like speculate too much because I'll be really sad if I can't play it.
Arms isn't good enough to say that they should be like that much lower.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Do you feel like besides Paladin in that one part, do you feel like the tanks overall are in like a decent spot?
Perfect. I think
so. Yeah.
Dark Knight having a little bit less sustain with more damage is fine.
I think that's fine. But man, I've got a list of things for Dark Knight.
Okay.
Who doesn't?
Let me ask you a different. How many of the list of options do you have that you want to see improved didn't already exist in Shadowbringers? Because every complaint I have is something that already exists.
Every single one. It was never in Shadow. So I think there's two aspects in this game you need to balance around. Rating, endgame rating, and dungeons, because dungeons is what the majority of the players will do.
Savage raid right now.
Yeah, and then you have Savage. So if a mechanic is good in a dungeon, it's not necessarily going to be as good in Savage. On like one boss, Bloodwedding's a good example of that. Insanely good in a dungeon, one GCD and you're benedictioned. On a boss, it's great. It's a shield. It's regen, but it's not. So I want Oblation, or even TBN. Who cares? To regenerate health per time you're hit. I want one of those.
I wanted that on Blood Weapon.
Well, that per time you're hit.
No. Blood. Well, if you remember.
Yeah. I remember the Blood.
Similar. Yeah. Just something to give you more sustain, but I wouldn't necessarily tie it to TBN or Oblation, since you do use those on other people.
I don't care. You can use Nascent and what's it called on other people too. Yeah, I want blood price, but with HP on return. Listen, Vengeance deals damage per time you're hit. It's not a shield, but even still, I think we can manage a 60-second cooldown that heals you. I also think they finally need to give Living Dead just cause all your GCDs to heal you for small potents. I think we're at the point where we've had the Living Dead conversation enough that you might as well just slap a heal on hit.
Okay, I'm so confused why they didn't. So they made Home Gang and Living Dead are both 10 seconds, but Home Gang still got the shorter recast. I would have swapped them.
Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah. You could also just make Abyssal Drain part of their AoE combo if you just want to fix dungeon. Like you could just make it the third part. It's so stupid that it's tied to Carbon Spit. I don't like that at all.
Mm-hmm. Although they did take the potency that Abyssal Drain had and added it to Carbon Spit for single target stuff.
Yeah, that's fine. But even still,
they removed the healing we did have.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
I want to quickly remind everybody who's watching, because this happens every single time. All this stuff. There's going to be a lot of changes Monday night, and they're going to make a whole bunch of different things that will upset the balance, and it's not going to be perfectly balanced, but it'll be balanced enough to where you could just play whatever. You should be okay. If you're racing for world first, maybe not, but that's like
even then there's a lot of people going for like hardcore prog for their first time, and they're confused because they're like, we need to play the meta. And I've had people like, I'm leveling up Gunbreaker and I've never played it before, but they don't want me to go Dark Knight. I'm like, play Dark Knight. If you're staring at your hotbar in prog, you've done something extremely wrong.
Yeah. Like even if you feel like you're a little under powered or whatever, it's not like the top 1%. If you're comfortable on a job, that so much, especially if it's your like first time rating, that is so much more important than playing the meta, if you will, you know?
I looked over. Booty. Yes, you are going to whoop booty. I looked at the past 0.05 changes to get an idea of the scope. And one of the biggest things they tend to hit up is mana economy for healers. Almost every 0.05 patch has some sort of MP economy fix for one of the healers. So I do think White Mage is going to get some sort of adjustment to that on Monday night. And I do think Astro also is classically a 0.05 master, where it's always on the list of changes for 0.05. No surprise given the job's history. So I do expect at the very least a clarifying draw fix. I don't think they're going to fix the button bloat with round play and minor arcane. They might. They have done things like add back Hagakure and energy drain to jobs before, so
they could also just change undraw to something that matters.
Just don't put it on your bar. I can at least pretend that button's not on my bar. I can't pretend crown play's not on my bar.
No, change undraw to be swap your lord and your lady, right?
I don't want any more buttons. That's the problem. It's too many as it is. Don't give it a reason.
Astro, man, it's got so many buttons.
Don't give it any more. Don't give undraw a purpose, please.
So since we're talking about healers, kind of what are our thoughts in general of the overall healer scope? I mean, how's Sage? Sage
I think Sage is doing fine, but you got to think about them in pairs, and I think Sage Scholar is exceptionally strong, which is not a good thing.
Not what they were going for, I don't think.
No, I don't think so. Yeah, that's crazy. I think they're gonna make some overlap in the mitigation tools is gonna be one. But even if they did that, it wouldn't change the frequency of Karakole. It's ridiculous.
It's huge.
It's just so stupid how often. Why is the single? I get why the single target one is 45 seconds because it's supposed to be matching XCOG, but
you definitely Karakole like so much on cooldown, basically.
Yeah,
it's too valuable. It's too valuable.
You're saying basically most groups are going to run Scholar Sage if nothing changes with healers.
Yes. Any group who wants, yeah.
Sages need to know how to play modifiers, because if you just use raw heals, you suck. Like, you're not doing a lot. But if you can time your modifiers properly for your extra healing and your damage reduction, it's awesome, because you can also, Sage has so many tools to help mitigate something if a tank fucked up.
Which they will.
Which they will. Yeah. It also, I kind of feel bad for Warrior, because it feels like it's in a really good spot now, and a lot of people are talking about having so much healing. But with the state of healers, Warrior may not actually see use in that.
Yeah.
They already didn't see use last expansion with their healing.
Yeah. Okay. Miz, any thoughts on healers?
No. I've had like literally no time with like Christmas and everything. So I honestly haven't leveled my healers yet. And so all I have to go for on is all the stuff I did at the media event, which isn't enough to have an opinion, I would say.
A lot of it's pretty close still, actually.
Yeah?
Most of it,
yeah. Well, in that case, I thought Sage was fun. That's all I got.
Sage is a lot of
fun. Is that why you tried to kill me?
Good plays with it.
Oh god, not this again.
I like Sage overall that I've played it so far. I haven't got it to max yet or anything. But I still did some low level dungeons with it. I did, what was it? Satasha. I did Satasha with it. And I'm like, this is, I don't know why.
Great opinion.
A good guide for that
10 out of 10.
Yeah.
There is a good guide.
You're right. But I was just remembering like what people were saying is like, hey, if you need to learn healer, go back to Satasha and heal. And I'm like, you don't do anything. You're just there.
You GCD heal when you need to.
Yeah, it's nothing. And so I love it so far. I did do what was it, the 71 dungeon?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and people died because I didn't know what I was doing and I was just pressing buttons. But and they were doing full pulls and everything, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna try.
Minster Switch is a little hard for Sage. I also think Zot is a harder to heal dungeon from this expansion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, some of the trash pulls in Zot are like no joke.
Yeah,
it's like a trash pull of all the big ads.
Yeah, exactly, and those hit hard.
Yeah.
And they push everything over. It's so annoying.
Mm-hmm.
As long as I go for warrior and they know what they're doing, it's okay.
I've tank beat it a few times.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Worth
you're
it.
gonna die.
And the caster's not LBing, or you don't have one.
Exactly. But I'm a little concerned about. I don't know how I feel about Thin Air's change on White Mage. I think Astra's in a really good spot and has a lot of good tools, and the RNG sucks. But White Mage's Thin Air is kind of an awkward change.
The Thin Air change quite literally just makes Swift Rezzing more forgiving, and that's it. That's if you even have Thin Air at all at that time.
But it sucks for something like Terminal Velocity, where you're going into an enrage sequence, you're getting hit a bunch, and you're trying to like Thin Air cure 3 spam. It's just not going to happen now.
Nope. I mean, you'll get 2 of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There you go. You get 2 of them.
So
Lily Bell's all right. Lily Bell's cool.
Yeah. Oh, it's Liturgy of the Bell now. Why did they do that? Why couldn't you just call it Lily Bell? Liturgy of the Bell. It's a liturgy.
I forget that thing exists too. I mean, I'll see it every once in a while. Like, oh, that's really cool looking. But anyways, DPS. We could just kind of. Are there any like combinations with DPS that are just absolutely overpowered right now?
Bard,
Monk Reaper,
Monk Reaper, Bard, Monk Reaper, Bard, Red Mage, and you're done. Yeah, Monk Reaper, Bard, Red Mage, done. Move on.
If they don't change any potencies, I see every competitive group just playing that comp.
Really?
Well, I think that on paper that was what makes sense, and I think on paper that is by far the strongest DPS combination. That being said, I looked through the numbers. I think people are overly critical about Dragoon.
Dragoon's doing fine.
Dragoon's doing pretty good. See, Dragoon's one of those jobs that's really risky, and it's always had this history because it's a job where the better your team scales off critical hit rate, or jobs like that don't auto crit things, benefit from that. It starts to get more and more powerful. One of the big things with Dragoon Bard Dragoon Bard Scholar is the huge amount of crit stacking during buff windows. You have a 2% crit rate. You have Litany. You have the Scholar thing that
change stratagem.
There you go. Change stratagem. Well, the warrior, then warrior starts to be like,
wants a warrior.
Yeah, then warrior becomes a little less desirable. Yeah. So if Dragoon is in that place, then the people who tend to like spout meta nonsense and just that nonsense, they start to spout that. And that's why Dragoon's always in kind of a scary spot. That being said, Monk and Reaper are in a stupid good spot is the bigger thing to look at.
The reason I jumped to them immediately was not only is their damage good, but they have defensives that Dragoon literally just doesn't have.
Yep.
Okay.
So if they're away from the team for something, or a healer goes down or something, like Arcane Crest is going to be really good. Mantra can help you, but Arcane Crest is stupid. It has no place being on a melee bar, I don't think.
Dark Knights are like, hello? I couldn't me? No, why not me?
Miz, any thoughts on that, or are you guys just kind of winging it?
So we have our melee, especially. Well, actually, all of our, I think, except for our Bard, has like a pool of DPS to draw from, depending on what happens on Monday or Tuesday, whatever. So I don't know if we've settled on exactly what we're doing. It's more like a wait and see for us, honestly, and we're gonna go from there.
I mean,
that being said, we're not running the comp. I said, for what it's worth.
Oh, are you not?
Our dancer's a one trick,
okay.
And so Lamatod, he's going to be playing ninja. He's been practicing monk, but if his monk proficiency is not good enough to match his ninja damage, He's just going to play Ninja because, like we said earlier, you play what you're comfortable on. And that's
so you're
that
probably
just
not
makes
going to be
sense.
on stream for the race event, is what you're saying, Ren, right?
No, God, no. We're just week 1 progging, you know, maybe. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna give it our go. It's gonna be his first chance getting that shot, and I'm really happy to see what he brings to the table. Our caster is gonna be able to play all 3, but if you don't bring a res mage, I think you are griefing. If you have a second player who plays black mage, I think that's fine. But a red mage or a summoner in prog is so good. You're gonna have times where your healers are just gonna die.
Summoner makes me sad. I love the way Summoner plays, but man, if they don't get buffs on Tuesday, I'm gonna be so disappointed.
I leveled it up and it feels cool now. I actually enjoy it. And the last time I played it was Heaven's Ward. It's not Heaven's Ward. Heaven's Ward I needed to read like a 75-page document, and this time
do we have the author for that
Legos,
document anywhere nearby? We got any doc authors nearby?
Hello?
Hello? Anyone?
You mean you don't need a PhD to play Summoner anymore? That's nice.
You don't even need the P.
Yeah.
Not to mention the H and the D.
Oh man. Okay. So I mean, but overall, I think we're probably at where we would expect to be at the beginning of an expansion with balance, right? I mean, it's not like they destroy. There are things to talk about, and there are better things right now. But we expect this stuff to happen, and we expect to see it before we go into Savage, and it's all going to change completely. That's the fun part of like going into like the kind of race scenario, is all the analyzing that you have about what the notes say and trying to apply that about what you're going to do when you log in.
We just had a month to just practice, right? So like my co-tank and I were both Gunbreaker mains, but we practiced all 4 tanks because who knows? Maybe Confiteor is going to double in potency on Tuesday. Wouldn't that be cool?
That would be awesome.
Maybe Clemency will be affected by Wreck again or something.
Maybe Clemency will do damage.
Oh, having 100 gauge going in though is nice. We found a use for cover again, and it's to force a pre-pop Sage bubble.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I will say, and maybe this is just me being like infinitely positive or whatever, I think whatever happens on Tuesday, I trust them, given their past decisions or whatever, that they're gonna hopefully make good, decent decisions when it comes to the balancing. So part of me, like, while I would love, you know, infinite buffs for Paladin, infinite buffs for all these other classes that are struggling, I don't know. I feel comfy knowing that whatever happens, like, you can still play what you enjoy and do well. Like, that's all that matters, right?
I've stopped caring a long time ago, to be honest with you. It's just more of, hey, they're going to try to balance it out, and it's going to get at least good enough. And if it's not, like, perfect, or it's, like, you know, enough to be worth a discussion, like, hey, you should never bring Paladin or whatever else, still I can play Paladin, because it doesn't matter, because I'm not...
That one hit real close to home, Frosty. I could feel the Heaven's Ward in you coming out right there.
Straight through the entire Heaven's Ward Paladin. It was a good time.
My old co-tank, who's been a Paladin for 10 years now, almost, right? Like 9th anniversary. He was like, finally, the flagship job got its identity back. Lowest DPS.
Yeah, a lot of people don't remember Paladin. Dude, in A Realm Reborn, Paladin was a monster, but everyone kept trying to make it main tank.
Paladin. Yeah, for a little bit.
It was a monster.
Yeah.
Paladin has had some time where it's DPS. I mean, Shadowbringers, it was number 2, you know, not by much, but, you know, reasonably so. It's just Paladin's had a really good run of DPS in the past. So
yeah, I mean, I had that conversation at the end of Heaven's Word of Yoshi, and I was like, hey man, you really fucked me, dude. Can you just like give me some time here and just like give me a couple expansions? And he said, yeah, it's been a couple expansions now. Now we're just, it is what it is.
I think we also saw a couple of skill floors raise, like just jobs as a whole, right? Addle and Feint now work on all types of damage, so if somebody misses something, somebody else can account for it, albeit at a lower value. Range mitigation was reduced in recast, right? And everybody's bursting at 1 or 2 minutes now, so I think we'll see people able to meet a DPS check a little bit easier without having to work as hard, which is going to be good. It might be boring for people who like to speedrun and want to work around the optimization, but for people who don't really know and they're just like, I'm just going to press it when it's coming, you know, Confiteor, Frosty, right? You're just going to hit it when it's up, right? And now that'll be fine.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. No Holy Spirit, just, well, you know, you just hit it straight to Confiteor and just go. All right? No more Holy Spirit. Yeah.
No more. No.
Anyways, okay. So other things to kind of think about is that this is going to be the first world race that we've had in over a year. And it's an interesting one in general because this is probably the most attention Final Fantasy 14 has had on it for any kind of like race at all. So we're gonna see a lot of people from other games, mostly WoW, right? That are gonna be doing a Savage World race for the first time. Are you guys? It's stupid. You're excited for it. I'm not even gonna ask if you're excited. You're excited for what's gonna happen. Yeah.
Wait, something's happening next week?
Yeah.
What?
So long for this. You have no idea. I think it's gonna be great. I'm very excited.
I want to see how the scene works because I mean the world race works in such a weird way. Like you said, the JP teams don't report unless if they get high ranks. I mean that's just what it is, and they don't report their usual like the 1, 2, 3 clears. They don't sign up as much. We do have a few teams that do, but for the most part, no. And
I think 14 has a very
streaming too, right?
Yeah, it has a very specific culture when it comes to streaming in the world race. It's very different than WoW.
Yeah.
And I think it is changing with time, like especially with like more and more influence of like WoW refugees coming in and, you know, this like amalgamation of both cultures. We're getting like a cool hybrid, but yeah, it is very different.
I don't think, just my thoughts in it in general, I don't think Savage is ever going to really adapt the same way WoW did with streaming for the world race. It's just too quick and
Ultimate though.
Ultimate I can see.
Yeah. But 100% Savage is probably always going to be kind of background stuff. And I know
it's just done, right? Like what about when you go to bed for the first night, Frosty? You wake up the next day and like 12 teams.
I mean, that's the kind of exciting part though, is as soon as it starts, who gets that first clear, right? And I guess my audio is down again, is what they're saying. Is that oh my god, I don't know what it's doing, but it's just like slowly decaying. Let me turn it up a little bit. Okay, hold on. Okay. Is that better? Is that good? Is that good?
My ears.
Oh, sorry. Let's turn it down just a little bit there. All right.
Way too dank for a second.
Okay.
Way
deep fried.
Yeah, that was absolutely on purpose there. Okay. But now it's good, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I do think that we will maybe start to see some teams streaming more, but it's just never. The world first teams will probably honestly stay without streams for a while, unless if something major changes. Because even if the really, really good teams decide to start streaming and everything else, the teams that want to get world first and are unnoticed will not stream and they'll get world first. Because it's a lot easier to build a team of 8 people who are just really good and hide in the dark until you get the clear. Versus WoW, where you need like a whole corporation behind you for the race, really, right?
And UCOB was literally a team put together to get world first and disband after.
Yeah, yeah. So it's just a different situation. I don't know what to really talk about with the world race other than just it's happening. And I expect it to be over.
It's a good opportunity for people to watch, because even if you're like, let's say, like my team, we normally come around 20th, right? Which is both cool and not, depending on who cares about it. But the nice thing is, for so many teams that finish on like day 2 or 3, that's still weeks before some of the people watching will ever clear. So they really enjoy getting to just see it happen right away, learn, hear people talk about it, hear Happy come up with these strats like brambles and stuff, and just hear how much he loves them and the mentality behind them. And then Pharaoh steals the idea, you know?
Yeah.
And like, and then like, let's say Miz watching you do your fights, and then the guides come out after, and you have a different understanding when you make the videos as opposed to when you're first doing the fights, because we just do what it takes to get the kill, right? We not necessarily understand how things work right away. I can tell you right now, the first 2 floors are like a fever dream to me on week 2. The last 2 floors I remember a lot, but the first 2 are so fast.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's really nice just getting to see and have people.
My favorite thing is talking to the world first team after it's over and trying to talk about those first 2 fights, and they're just like,
and they have no idea. Yeah,
I don't even remember
every time.
I just reacted, you know, and it just we cleared it. And they remember the only strategies they remember are the ones that they have to like. They died a couple times and they have to actually talk it out with how it flows and everything else. But everything else is just like automatic for them. But we will see it hopefully larger. The stream that we're putting on hopefully will be pretty good. Again, it's just a community thrown together stream. Hopefully it'll work out all right. But great. You are all streaming when servers come up, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And are you afraid at all about the ability to log in?
Oh, definitely.
I am not going to be logging in on Gilgamesh. I can promise you that.
Okay.
It's not so much logging in, because at that hour, I don't think it'll be bad. It's more so like the unfortunate disconnect during prime time or something. That's going to be very scary.
Or disconnecting. Like, what if you're disconnecting and you're on a clear pull? And now you're out for like an hour, and you lose all the energy and momentum.
All the momentum, yeah.
Why would you say that out loud? Like,
it would suck so bad
Why
if
are you
Zeph
still talking about it?
It would be so bad if Zeph said, this is fine, because he saw like a disconnect above Whoops, and Whoops was just out. Like, wouldn't that suck so bad? Could you imagine if that happened, Happy?
Why do you hurt us like this?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. The servers have been stable for the most part, right?
Yeah, but it's like the random DirectX error or, sound bug or something. Which
Rin, I didn't know your name was
for a second. Like,
Rin, I didn't know your name was Medion.
Casting despair. Yeah. We can talk about this stuff because we have possible spoilers. Yeah.
That entire thing was a Song of Oblivion.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Give me your despair, Happy. I need it.
Here's the thing,
it's a bigger issue too.
I prefer
crafters,
apples,
right? So like people getting their crafted gear, you're not just able to like sit on your home world, do your nodes, get your gear, travel to the server, deliver it to the raiders. Everybody's going to be on the same world now. It's like I have 2 members on my team who aren't on Genova, who have to come over to Genova, and then half the crafters aren't. So if they disconnect, like they're not given priority to get back in.
So
that sucks.
Here's the situation. With the expansion being released, I think that was a different story with the queue times and everything else. I do not think the non-evening hours are going to be as bad, right? I do think that people are going to be able to eventually get back in, but they are going to lose a little bit of time, and that time does suck in the Savage
race.
Hours
are going to suck.
Yeah.
In Eden's Verse and in Eden's Promise, Genova had a queue until like 10 in the morning. At all times, and that was without this influx. So I do think the first few hours, at least, people are going to be excited to get in, right, and give something a try.
And well, yeah, but this is also the people who care about Savage being released as early as possible, and not every single person in the world who wants to play Final Fantasy 14. And so at 2 a.m. in the morning for Pacific time, that's not going to be too crazy. So when we're talking, I guess when we're talking about different time zones, it might be a little bit different in EU and JP time zones for logging in and everything else. But for NA, it's going to be pretty mild. I would assume it would be pretty mild overall. I would recommend not being on Gilgamesh.
I think Gilgamesh is going to be a trap. I think Gilg, Sarg, and Genova are going to be the congestion.
Okay, but what if everyone leaves Gilgamesh and all the other servers are bad, but Gilgamesh is fine?
Possibility. I've considered it, and I can't. My crafters, my raid team, they're all on Ferry. I just eat 10 more minutes worth of food, and I better not disconnect.
Everyone log on Ferry. Go to Ferry.
Don't do that.
My alt used to be on Ferry.
Do it. But yeah, we're going to see how that works out. I do think it's not going to be as bad as we're all thinking it is, but it is going to cause some sort of trouble. I do also think this is going to be one of the fastest races that we've had in a while, and it's probably going to be done before people get off work.
I think it'll be 16 hours.
Got better since before, right? Like a lot of players did ultimates when they had nothing else to do and just understand the game better. The first tier is usually tuned down a little bit.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's going to be pretty quick. I would not be surprised if like first kills before you have dinner, Frosty.
I hope so. I'd like to have
16 hours.
16 hours. That 13 to 16 hours is probably. I think there's a possibility for even lower than that, to be honest with you. I don't know if that's going to happen.
Get to it, TPS.
We'll see if TPS can do it. Yeah. But I actually, to add on to this, I have been talking to a lot of teams, and I've been talking to a lot of people who talk to other teams and everything else. A lot of people are going for world first. There are a lot of people who aren't just saying, hey, I want to be in the world race. They're like, I want to get first. And it's JP teams, EU teams, NA teams. It's going to be pretty intense. I know Haru's, they're trying pretty hard. So
I'm watching a lot of teams doing
Here's a question for you guys then. Do you think, because of like this just sheer influx of people, do you think the world first team is going to be one that's either already had like gotten world first or is known in the community, or it's going to be someone like a group that's completely brand new, never heard of?
Impossible. I think it'll be someone we know.
We hope that it is someone we know. I hope, just because it's so much easier to facilitate those conversations afterwards. But I do think there is a very high chance it's going to be just, a really good group that got thrown together for it that's not talking to anybody.
If
people
I
will
think
know
about
them.
it per second, it's probably going to be somebody we know.
Yeah. I mean, people will know them in the raid community, but they're not going to be like people that everyone knows, right? It'll be people that the raid community likely knows in some way or shape or form. Yeah. So I'm excited for it.
What if it's like a rogue elite team from like WoW that we've never heard of, and they're going to blow us all out of the water?
That's possible.
Echo and Method could do it, or not Method. Was it Echo and Limit?
Limit?
Yeah. Sorry.
Every time we talk about Echo, it reminds me of when Scripe was he was looking at how well the world first teams did for the previous tiers for Shadowbringers, and he was looking at how well his team did blind, and he just kept saying, "What? We suck." Like, what? he just literally spent like an hour just telling, like, I don't understand. Why do we suck?
I can answer that right now because experience in this game goes so far.
Because I was like, listen,
like you said earlier, Miz, calling mechanics based on older fights, right? Like you do Shiva, and we're like, this is God Kefka right here, and then you just immediately know the mechanic.
Exactly. If you have a group where you can literally just be like, oh, that's Protean, oh, this is this is that, this is Omega, and immediately everyone picks up on exactly what you're trying to convey, that is amazing, because you're like on this next level of communication that someone new to the game won't have, or someone that didn't raid in previous tiers won't have.
Yeah. And we
almost made it a whole raid podcast without hearing the word Protean.
Almost.
Don't worry. Wait till the follow-up after it's cleared for all the Protean talk, because they're coming.
Maybe.
The second boss literally has waves, so
yeah.
Just waiting for them to be Proteans.
Yeah.
It's going to be sewage wave.
See, I think we're going to see just straight up spread stack and not Protean stacks.
We're going to spread in Proteans, but it's not a hard requirement to do so.
Mm-hmm. Right, yeah.
Yeah.
But just thinking, I remember I was like, yeah, our team got like, I don't know, like 30th or something. We weren't trying super hard. So if you guys try hard, you'll probably do it. He's like, but you weren't trying and you're better than us. So we suck. And I'm like, no, that's not what I was saying. That's not what I was saying.
I do think, like, in this case and scenario, it is a little bit more difficult for these outside teams. Or I say outside, I mean, they're pretty much inside now. They've been playing the game for a while. But these teams that are known for a lot of outside world race stuff, to come in and have to try to figure all this stuff out when we could easily, like, those every minute, every discussion, every pull matters. That's much how close these races can be. And so if they are slowed down by any of that, they're just going to be at a disadvantage. I do think that the ultimate races, however, they are going to have a huge one up on a lot of other teams because it's endurance and they practice endurance for their own races and everything else. So we'll see in that. I don't expect it as much. I would love to see it just because it would be like, holy fuck, we just got shown what a solid esports team can do here in Final Fantasy 14. But
I think we also won't see a large disparity between the first few clears this time around.
I agree.
In time.
No. I do think that we will have someone clear it maybe first, that it is possible that no one's going to go and clear all first 4 fights and be the first in every single fight. I think it is going to be mixed up a little bit at the beginning. Then like the third and fourth will probably be by the same team. Maybe not.
Lucky through like the second and third floor where you get a mechanic right the first time. Maybe you guessed wrong and take a little longer. And then everybody catches up.
Yeah.
Later on.
Yeah, I know on E10, I think we and a few other people, we just kind of got through the second meteors. What were they called again for E10? The big one that everyone skips.
Voidgate?
Yeah, Voidgate. There you go. We just kind of got through Voidgate. I think we had like damage downs and stuff. We just cleared on that pull.
Yeah, we did too.
Oh, okay, we made it. So let's just try to finish this. Yeah.
Like E7, we had like 5 deaths.
Oh, okay. I do want to talk about a couple things with World Race if you guys are okay with me just saying shit about it. Because it's your show, by the way. It's your show, guys.
No,
the guest own this show. 100%.
It's your show. We just live in it.
I'm renaming the show to State of the Realm.
If we can, if you want to.
I don't want to do that.
Okay.
No.
Okay. So the World Race this time, we do have a whole lineup of casters that are real awesome, like kind of newer ones, kind of older ones. We have a lot of WoW casters that are coming in too, like Kexman's coming in, along with some other WoW casters that are going to come in and talk. I'm pretty excited for it. We do expect it to be kind of a short race. We are planning out a schedule for 24 hours, but it's not going past 24 hours. If for some reason this becomes like a horrible, like really difficult tier,
I'll be happy.
That would be good, yeah.
Yeah, that is what it is. But we are going to be raising money for Extra Life, who, if you guys don't know, supports a lot of children's hospitals and helping them out. And it's huge for me, especially since I have a child coming up. But I have some friends who had their child spend some time in the children's hospital, and it's kind of a little bit close to me right now. So we are going to try to raise money for that. We do have gifts that we're going to, donation incentives. So if you donate, you'll automatically be entered into I'm trying to find a picture of it, but a giveaway for these I found it. I think I found it. Is this it? Yeah. All right. Hold on. I'm going to put this on screen. Give me just a second. Let's see if I can find the exact one. Sorry, guys. Production is complete shit right now. World Race.
We're all Twitch streamers. We got it.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to open this folder so I can do this. If this gives you a head start to know what it's going to look like, by the way, during the production of the World Race event. So if you're curious. All right, here we go. There we go. And let me see if I can actually size that to be correct. We're going to be giving away these lamps. There's going to be 3 of them.
So cool.
Yeah.
That's gorgeous.
Yeah. And so we had an awesome person in the community. Actually, we commissioned them to do this. Polyethylene, I think. And we got 3 of these that we're going to give away to anyone who donates. I think like $30 or more will immediately be entered in the giveaway for it. We have another one, which I will show you guys here in a bit. Let's see if I can pull that up. From them as well, which I think a lot of people will like. I think this is just $10 or more. You get entered into a giveaway for it.
Love that. That's awesome.
The rise and fall.
Yeah. So
iconic.
We will have that in there. So these are physical items, of course, that you guys can have, and we'll work out all the shipping and everything. The limitations will only be limited to whatever your weird country laws are on it. If they're like, hey, you can't ship stuff here, well, I can't do anything about it. But for everyone who is eligible for that, we can give these away. I think we have 5 of them that we'll be giving away. Outside that, we're also going to be giving away Mog Station items for anyone who donates anything. You have a chance of winning a Mog Station item. And I'm actually extremely excited for those giveaways, because that's what I wanted with this event. I wanted to be Final Fantasy 14, something just really nice that you just can't buy off a store somewhere. I mean, you can buy these things, but they're handcrafted by someone in the Final Fantasy 14 community. So.
Oh, I'm buying them. If I don't win them, I'm buying them.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You've got a customer right now.
Yeah.
They the grapes especially.
Yeah, they are fantastic. So we'll be doing that. We'll go live about 1 hour before the servers come up to just have some pre-show talk and everything else. And then after that, we'll just be casting. We have over 120 authorized streams for us to restream during the event.
Wow.
So we have
That's
a pretty good amount of point of views that we could pick from. Of course, if there is a team that is leading and we haven't gotten authorization to restream their stream, we won't do it. But we do have a lot of really cool people who are letting us have their point of views to talk about these fights as we go through it. And we're going to be monitoring all the stuff that's not on stream as well, just making sure that we keep up to date with it. Yes, Ren.
Oh,
I saw you point. Oh, you're just pointing.
Oh, wait. What?
I don't know why you're pointing at him, but I saw.
What did I do?
But yeah, let me go ahead and, since these guys are really awesome and I working on these commissions for us, that's the Twitter for the person who makes those items. So that being said, I'm trying to think. We do have an interview with some really cool music guests that will be coming on. Not Soken, unfortunately, but some really, really cool music guests will be coming on during the event as well. As well as, I think that's it. We're just going to be talking shit for an hour, or not an hour, for 24 hours. On this channel, 1 hour before server up. And that's all I got to say about the World Race.
Very exciting.
Yeah, thank you.
Very cool.
Thank you. I hope we can raise some money. I hope we can do some good with it. Also, by the way, any donations, any Twitch subs, anything to this channel automatically goes to Extra Life. Or not automatically, I got to do it, but in my head, automatically all of that stuff will go over there. I will be pushing that stuff over to Extra Life. And I think that's about 2 hours. That's about our show. First one in like 6 weeks or so.
First one of the year.
Yeah, first one of the year. Very first podcast in the world of this year. No one else has had
We've done a podcast since last year.
Jeez. I do appreciate everybody who came to watch the show and everything. But before we finish up and everything else, I do want everyone to have their opportunity to shout out whoever they want to shout out and let you know where you can find them. Of course, they will all be streaming server up. And I'll start with Ms. Tech, if that's all right. Ms., you want to tell everybody where they can find you and do any of your shout-outs?
Yep. You can find me at twitch.tv/MTQCapture. I'll be live as soon as servers are live, or rather, before. Huge shout-out to all of the behind-the-scenes Raider support, because I feel like they don't usually get, you know, the shout-outs. I don't know. My brain has fallen on my butt.
That's fine.
But two, shout out to the market board. That's what we want to say. But yeah, we'll see you guys on Tuesday.
Yeah, the famous Grubhub actress, right? Yeah, that's right.
Actors, because Mr. Happy here is too as well.
Oh, okay, yeah. All right.
I'm the pepperoni guy.
All right, Happy, do your part here.
But before I do my part, funny thing, Miz and I were talking behind the scenes that whole time, and she was like, she needed to know how the pepperoni line went. She wanted me to do it like Mario. It's like, I'm crying on my pepperoni.
It is Italian as you can possibly muster.
Oh my god.
She wanted me to do that. I was like, that's not. I don't think that's a take they're gonna use. So I can't make any promises for that. You could find me, Mr. Happy 1227. I will also be streaming on server Uptime, and I'm feeling really good. Shout out to my team because we've been doing a lot of hard work and getting a bunch of stuff together. Whoops got all our crafters together. That's all organized, and they'll be compensated for waking up early and taking care of all of our items and stuff. And then everyone else on the team, Zeph, Pharaoh. I'm gonna pull up all the names because I'm one of those people who can know everyone so well. Still forget a name. I'm just so terrible with it. Yeah. We have Valor, our melee. We have Zeph, of course, who's tanking Mr. Oh, it's fine. We have Fira, who I'll try not to anger because then she'll kill me. I'll have Pharaoh, who will kill me anyway. And then I have Slaya, who's our other tank professional. And then Revenge, who's been doing a ton of work just to get everything coordinated and organized. So there's been a lot of teamwork behind the scenes. And like Miz said, I don't think that gets appreciated. So most of us will be streaming, so you have plenty of perspectives come stream day, and I think we're gonna have a good time.
Okay, I feel like Rin is preparing something. So Rin, if you would
there's a bit coming.
Yeah, I'm ready for the bit, Rin.
All right, thank you for having me. My name is Rin, and you can find me at Rin Karigani on Twitch and on Twitter, and over on YouTube as well if you'd like. I'll be streaming on Tuesday for the World Race, and it's going to be really fun and exciting, and you could just see the happiness on my face right now. I'm very happy to be here. This smile is genuine. And wait, what the? Did you turn me off?
No, yeah, I did. Oh, there we go.
Hi, everybody. I think it's going to be a fantastic race we're going to have on Tuesday. It's going to be a riveting good time. Everybody's going to be so happy, and I'm happy. He's happy. We're all happy to be here. It's going to be fantastic.
It's like Xehanort.
Whew. We went jet black for a second there. I apologize. I would like to thank my mother, who was here, couldn't be here today, unfortunately. I want to thank my better half. I want to thank my husband for allowing me to be so awesome and get to stream and be here for you guys, and also my crafting team, who's working really freaking hard around the clock to get ready for the race. It's going to be their first time crafting for a world race team. I think it's going to be really awesome. And shout outs to my team Last Impression, Lamatad, who gets to do his very first race on Ninja, which is going to get buffed.
Yeah, I was gonna, no, it won't. Anyway.
Yeah.
I hope you like Fortnite too.
Yeah. Oh, and just to remind everybody about the world race stuff, I completely forgot. We did add some emotes in here for the world race, and so those are there. So if you do any Prime sub or anything, again, I'm going to put that straight to not Child's Play. That was last time, but this one is Extra Life. So you get those two for fun. That's it, guys. Thank you for letting me be on the show with you here for the first time this new year. And we will likely be back next week. The assumption is that the race will be cleared, and we will talk to someone who either got world first or somewhere near the top, I would assume, on our next show, as we normally do, depending on how that all works out. And thank you very much to Karara, who is my wonderful wife, who is now still carrying my child right now, going through all that fun stuff, who's going to be here in just a couple of months now, which is a little spooky. And thank you very much to Husky by the Geek for the intro and the closing music that we use here. We'll be able to hear it again in a second. And of course, all the Patreon supporters, everyone who supported us, even though we were on kind of not active at all in the last month and a half. And yeah, that's it. Thanks, everybody. We do have just one more quick thing. We do have a Patreon video where I will personally thank some Patreons here after this, so stick around for that. Then we're going to host somebody. Then you can leave after that. No, but no, you stay with whoever we host. Thank you, guys. Have a wonderful time. See you next week. Look forward to the world race. Bye.
Take care.
Hey, everyone. Thank you again for watching the show. Absolutely appreciate all of your support coming. It's been about a month or so, a little over a month since our last show. But for some reason, people are still supporting the show, even though I've been unable to make any kind of content. So I want to do a special thanks to those awesome, really insanely generous Patreon supporters. 3 community organizations. One, Ock Morning, a great resource for PvE content. I would definitely check out their website. Team Craft, a great crafting resource for working with people or just crafting in general. Phase Temperance, a great organization for doing PvE content and getting together events. And also just some wonderful people who's just helping, not part of an organization or anything else. Dude is Antonio, D Fury, JJ, Little Dude, Megan C, Mr. Dan, Nami, Niradia, Psyche, and Dirk. I appreciate all the support you guys have given throughout the years since we started doing Patreon, and that money is going towards doing things like providing gift incentives for the world race, and so all of that's extremely appreciated. That being said, I will hopefully start being here a little bit more. We do have some stuff coming up in life that's going to make it a little difficult, but we are back for right now, and I appreciate, again, all of the support you guys have given. Until next time, be good. Bye, guys.